My daughter's school said, they're just kids being kids after a bully harassed her, so I showed them what he did, just a father being a father. I was in my home office when I heard my daughter cutting her hair in her room. When I entered, she was surrounded by clumps of her blonde hair, tears streaming down her face. I knelt down and gently took the scissors from her. She looked at me with those big blue eyes and whispered, maybe now he'll leave me alone. Amelia didn't want to tell me much that night, only saying it didn't matter anymore and going to bed with her hair uneven and messy. I spent the next 3 days trying to get information from her. She barely touched her breakfast and picked at her dinners. When I called her teacher, Ms. Peterson, she laughed off my concern. Oh, you mean Archie Morrison. He's so smitten with Amelia. It's adorable how he follows her like a puppy. Kids that age don't know how to express their feelings well. Something about the way she said, follows her, twisted my stomach. I didn't know how to approach it with Amelia, and luckily I didn't have to because when I got home, she broke down. It turns out Archie called her Goldilocks every day, getting the whole class to chant it at recess. He cornered her in empty hallways, demanding hugs. Last week, he grabbed her face and forced her to look at him. When I talk to you, you look at me. I only hurt you because that's what people in love do. I was furious. The school brushed it off as puppy love. I told Amelia to stand up for herself, to yell the next time he touched her so the teachers would pay attention. Sometimes I wonder how different things would have been if I'd kept quiet, because the next day, Amelia came home with bruises on her wrists and a torn shirt. See, she'd yelled at Archie to leave her alone in front of everyone. The teacher made her apologize for hurting his feelings and causing a scene. And as if that wasn't enough, he cornered her after school with 3 friends to teach her a lesson. My dad says women play hard to get, but they really want attention. You humiliated me. Now we're even. Tomorrow I'll show you what real love is, he said. Amelia collapsed against me. I held her like I did when she was little, telling her she was safe while my hands shook with rage. That night I drove straight to Archie's house. His father opened the door, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly salary. Your son is harassing my daughter, I said. That's not what I heard, he interrupted with a smug smile. Archie told me your daughter sends mixed signals, gets his hopes up, then rejects him publicly. I should have punched him, but I didn't because behind him, I saw his wife with a bruise on her cheek. Mark grabbed her waist. Linda understands how relationships work. 20 years of marriage because she knows when I get rough, it's out of love. That's when I knew Archie was following in his father's footsteps and soon both would pay. I left, hands trembling. The drive home felt endless because I kept pulling over to calm down. Amelia was already asleep, her uneven hair like a broken wing on her pillow. The next morning I photographed her bruises. She flinched when I gently touched her wrists for better angles. I documented every mark, every torn piece of clothing. I checked her backpack and found crumpled notes. You're mine, they said over and over. Stop ignoring me or you'll see. A crude drawing of a girl with excess for eyes. Amelia watched me silently, pushing cereal around her bowl. When I asked if there were any text messages, she shook her head but avoided my eyes. Something told me she was hiding more. That afternoon, the principal called not about Archie, but about Amelia. Mr. Thompson, your daughter is seeking negative attention. Have you considered therapy? Sometimes they act out because of issues at home. I gripped the phone until my knuckles turned white. My daughter has bruises from an attack yesterday, I said. Ms. Peterson reported that, he replied. She mentioned Amelia humiliated Archie in front of his peers. We can't allow hostile environments. The call ended with him suggesting moving Amelia to another class, away from her friends, away from witnesses. 2 days later it happened. Amelia came straight to her room. They moved me, she said flatly, to Mrs. Hoffman's class. None of my friends are there, but Archie's still with everyone in Ms. Peterson's class. I sat on her bed, holding back my anger. Why? I asked. The principal said it was for my own good that I needed space. She looked at me with empty eyes. Dad, he wins. He always wins. The next few days were a nightmare. Archie recruited kids to follow her. The monitors did nothing. When she tried eating in the library, they kicked her out because Archie claimed she was damaging books. I installed a recording app on her phone. The first audio made my blood run cold. Archie cornered her by the water fountain. My dad knows the school board. If you're not nice to me, he'll get your dad fired. Want him to be jobless, then smile when you see me. With this evidence, I met with the superintendent, but Dr. Hayes barely glanced at my proof. Mr. Morrison was already here, concerned about your daughter's obsession. Kids are creative when they want attention, and audio can be edited. Strange things started happening. Every morning, a tire was flat. I found nails near my driveway. Then Amelia woke me at 2 a.m. trembling. He sent me photos, she said, pictures of her window taken from outside, different angles, different nights. The police shrugged. No proof it's Archie, so we can't do anything. Install cameras, they said. That night, Linda Morrison knocked on our door, a fresh black eye visible. I need to talk about what Mark teaches Archie, she said. Over coffee in our kitchen, her hands shook. He has cameras all over the house. He teaches Archie to track phones, to follow without being seen. He calls it watching what's yours. She pulled a USB from her purse. I copied files from his computer. You need to see what he's teaching our son. The first video showed Mark teaching Archie how to grab someone without leaving marks. Smart women know their place, he said. I made copies immediately. Linda warned, he'll destroy everything if you're not careful. I presented the evidence to the school board, but Mark stood up with a smile. Mr. Thompson is harassing my family. His daughter is obsessed. I propose we postpone this until he seeks mental help. The motion passed unanimously. Things got worse. In art class, Archie tried cutting Amelia's hair for my collection. When she pushed him, the teacher blamed her. A week of detention. During detention, Archie and his friends made obscene gestures through the windows. The supervisor pretended not to see. I decided to pull Amelia from school. You'll study at home until we sort this out. Her relief broke my heart. Thank you, she whispered, hugging me tightly. But Mark didn't stop. A social worker, Sarah Chan, came to our door, citing a report of educational neglect. Something about her seemed familiar. She spoke to Amelia privately. When she came out, her expression shifted. I'm Linda's cousin. I've seen Mark hurt her for 15 years. Sarah showed photos of Linda at family gatherings, bruises hidden under makeup. Linda had called her, ready to act. The USB was just the start. Sarah contacted a lawyer, Catherine McCanney, who specialized in domestic violence and corruption. Catherine reviewed our evidence for hours. Mark, done this before, she said. 3 families complained, but none had what you have, Linda's cooperation and professional documentation. She gave us a strategy, more proof of Mark's orchestrated harassment. Amelia showed me something she'd hidden, screenshots of a group chat where Archie gave instructions to harass her. My dad says if enough people say she's crazy, everyone will believe it, he wrote. Catherine urged us to back everything up. 2 days later, our camera caught someone who looked like Archie spray painting slurs on our fence. They also cut our hose and tampered with an outlet. This time, I mentioned Catherine when calling the police. Their attitude changed. They documented everything seriously. Catherine called with news. Linda brought journals spanning 20 years, documenting Mark's abuse along with recordings he'd made himself. The recordings were damning, Mark teaching Archie to intimidate. Fear is stronger than love. Once they're scared, they'll do anything. Most chilling was Mark telling Archie how to escalate with Amelia. Her dad's getting too bold. Time they learn what happens when they challenge us. Start at their house. Make them feel unsafe everywhere. Catherine filed for restraining orders. Mark retaliated. 3 school board members showed up to intimidate us. We're concerned about your fitness as an educator, they said. I recorded it all. You're threatening my job for protecting my daughter. Nobody threatens us. Mr. Morrison will ensure your job if you drop these false claims, they replied. Get off my property, I said. That night, Linda called from Sarah's house. Mark's desperate. He's calling everyone to control the narrative, but I found his notebook. It detailed years of control strategies, names of people he'd blackmailed and favors he'd called in. The notebook exposed a web of manipulation in the town, officials, businessmen, police under Mark's influence. Catherine was thrilled. This changes everything. It's not just your family, it's systemic corruption. We prepared for the hearing. Amelia practiced her testimony, brave but shaky. The harassment continued, but sloppier. Archie was caught on camera leaving threatening notes in other lockers. The principal, now nervous about lawsuits, apologized for his earlier indifference. The courtroom was packed on the hearing day, families whose kids Archie had bullied, women who recognized Linda's story. Mark walked in with an expensive lawyer, confident until he saw Linda with us. His face showed shock, anger, then nothing. Judge Roberta Catton reviewed the evidence methodically. When Catherine played the recordings of Mark teaching intimidation, the room went silent. Amelia testified calmly, describing the harassment, the fear, the school's failure. When Mark's lawyer suggested she was exaggerating, she showed photos of her window taken by Archie at 2:47 a.m. with the message, "Sweet dreams, Goldilocks. I haven't slept well since." Then came the pivotal moment. Archie testified, his arrogance betraying him. My dad says women need to know their place. Amelia was difficult. I had to show her who's boss. That's what men do. The judge asked, who taught you this? My dad showed me with Mom how to make women obey. He says once they're scared, they'll do anything. Mark lunged from his seat, grabbing Archie's arm hard. Shut up, you idiot. Officers restrained him, but the damage was done. He attacked his son in front of the judge, confirming his violent nature. After a recess, the ruling was swift and firm. Permanent restraining orders for Mark and Archie. No contact with Amelia or me, directly or through others. Archie was ordered into intensive court-monitored therapy, but it didn't end there. Mr. Morrison, your behavior today, combined with this evidence, deeply concerns me, the judge said. I'm referring this case to the prosecutor for criminal charges, witness intimidation, assault, conspiracy to harass. She also sent documentation to the school board, recommending Mark's immediate removal. As we left, Linda approached, exhausted but lighter. "Thank you," she said simply, "for believing the evidence, for fighting. You gave me the courage to end this." Her divorce lawyer waited in the parking lot. With the restraining order and Mark's attack on record, she filed for emergency custody and an expedited divorce. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. Mark faced multiple charges, with high bail due to his documented intimidation tactics. The school board, suddenly concerned about its image, voted unanimously to fire him. More families came forward about Archie's bullying and Mark's protection. Catherine filed a civil suit for damages and institutional changes. The school district, facing potential lawsuits, implemented real anti-bullying policies and mandatory teacher training. The principal who ignored us was suspended pending investigation. Archie was transferred to a therapeutic school with weekly mandatory therapy. His therapist, Dr. Kathy Tobert, told us his worldview was so warped by his father's teachings that it would take years to undo the damage. Linda's divorce was swift. With Mark's criminal charges and documented abuse, she gained full custody. Mark was limited to supervised visits, which Archie initially refused. Mark's criminal trial was set for 6 months later, but his attempts to intimidate witnesses from jail only added charges. His former allies distanced themselves, recalling inappropriate behavior they'd previously ignored.